Welcome to our Care Compass project for the fourth quarter of 2022. And our theme for today is self-care for caregivers. We welcome our presenter today, Bruss, on aromatherapy and its options.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm going to be going back and forth between this and my people in the room. So if you're wondering why I keep looking over my shoulder, that's why. As she said, I'm Bruss. I'm a certified aromatherapist for Ohio Living Home Health and Hospice. This is something that we provide to our hospice patients, and I'm happy to share a little bit with you today. Hopefully it'll spark your interest in wanting to learn more on your own. That's kind of what I did years ago. I was interested, and so I went to the library, went to the bookstore, and that's how it all started with me. So today I just wanted to talk about essential oils, and basically what are essential oils? Essential oils come from botanicals. They are the oils that are in plants that protect them when they're out in the environment. So it could be something from an oil sealing up a leaf or a broken stem. It could be dripping off the ends of the leaves to keep other plants from growing around them. They're antibacterial. Some of them are antiviral, antifungal. They can repel insects or they can attract insects and birds for pollination. So there's lots of different uses for essential oils, and I never really thought about that. Yeah, plants need to protect themselves out in the wild. So how are they extracted? Well, essential oils are extracted from plants in two major ways. The most common is steam distillation, and the other one is cold press. So when they do this, the process and how much oil they get, that kind of dictates how much the oils cost. So if rose petals, for example, it's really, really hard to get very much oil out of roses. So therefore, rose essential oil is pretty expensive. Lavender is not as difficult, and so it's less expensive. And so you'll see a range of prices for essential oils when you go to look at them yourself. Next, how many essential oils are there? Well, there are hundreds, because we're talking about all the plants throughout the whole globe. So it's estimated there's about 350,000 species of plants. About 5% of that 350,000 have aromatic properties. So that's about 17,500 if you're doing math, or if you like math. From that, about 400 oils are commercially processed from those plants. So that's kind of where we're at now. I'm sure, you know, that number has grown from thousands of years ago, and I'm sure it'll continue to grow because they've been around for thousands of years. Next, we want to talk about how these oils, how these healing properties get into your body. Well, there's three main ways. First, inhalation, which is the most effective and the quickest way to get it into your body. Some people think, oh, aromatherapy, because I can smell it, that's only a part of it. And I'll explain that in a little bit. The second method is topically, rubbing it on your skin, and we'll talk about the safe ways to do that. And lastly, it's not recommended. I'm not going to talk about it. You shouldn't do it. It's taking them internally. People do, unfortunately. Sometimes they do it without any problems. Sometimes these oils are very, very strong, and so they can literally burn the inside of your throat and stuff. So it's not a good idea. When we talk about inhalation, first of all, smelling it. what everyone thinks the aromatherapy is. Oh, how is smelling something going to help me? Well, when we're talking about the actual fragrance, when it enters your nose, goes through your olfactory nerve into your limbic system. The limbic system is the oldest part of your brain. So that's where you get those emotional and psychological responses. So if you can think back maybe when you were younger, what was your favorite smell? What was your favorite smell when you were younger? What makes you think of home? Maybe something that mom baked or something fun. Yeah. So if you smell, that memory kind of hits you back, and it may uplift your mood because you're thinking of a pleasant situation. So that's how when you're just smelling it, that's how it can affect you. It can be a pleasant memory or maybe not so much. The second way, when you're inhaling essential oils, they're getting into your airway. So it starts in your trachea, goes into your lungs, gets into the little tiny blood vessels in your lungs, the alveoli. That's the very last stop before it gets out into your bloodstream. It will be, once you inhale, the essential oils or the little molecules will go into your lungs and get out into your bloodstream within a matter of seconds. It's really quite interesting. I never really thought about how quickly our blood flows through our entire body until, I don't know, it was like a couple months ago, I had to have some kind of scan where they put something into your, an injection. I don't know if it's contrast or whatever. And literally within seconds, my feet were warm. I'm like, that's weird. I never really thought about that. So the same goes for essential oil getting into your bloodstream, which is where it's going to help you. Okay. The last way is the second way is topically. It takes a little bit longer to get into your bloodstream based on the permeability of your skin. If your skin is warm, it'll go in quicker. Sometimes as we get older, our skin is more permeable. Plus, if it's something that we use over and over and over again, that exposure will help your skin be more receptive of it as well. So again, the goal is to get into our bloodstream. So it goes into the top layer, the epidermis, then to the dermis, then to the capillaries out into your bloodstream. So the way the essential oils work is, first of all, they evoke a healing response as opposed to attacking a symptom, which is what, pharmaceuticals will attack a symptom. Essential oils evoke a healing response. So a good example of that is bergamot. Bergamot pushes your system to create more serotonin, which helps with depression. So it's a preventative measure or a healing measure too. If you have trouble with depression, it's a good thing to use bergamot. I want to talk about safety. So with essential oils, there are all but 3 are safe to put directly on your skin. So we need something mixed with those oils if you're going to put them on your skin to keep them safe. And that's where the carrier oils come in. I don't know if anyone's ever heard that term with essential oils, the carrier oils. There's a range of different carrier oils you can use. You can use coconut oil, jojoba oil, almond oil. You can even use olive oil if you want. If you're confused and you're just dabbling into it, your local health food stores that carry essential oils, they have carrier oils too, and you can pick something that way. Going back to safety, if you're allergic to the plant, you're going to be allergic to the oil. So just know that. And these oils are super, super concentrated. So your allergic reaction is going to be pretty heightened as well. Another thing is photosensitivity. Have you ever had taken a prescription medication where someone has said, okay, the label says don't lay in the sun, you know, okay, it's kind of that same thought process where, and it's mostly the citrus oils, like the orange oil and grapefruit oil, things like that. Those are the ones that can cause photosensitivity. So it's not recommended that you know, put those on with a carrier oil or a lotion and then go hang out in the sun all day because you may get burned. Lastly, with safety, we're going to talk about just briefly drug interactions. There's many, many, many oils, 400. There's many medications that we're all on. So when you're looking to use it for a specific reason, it's good to know if there is going to be an interaction with that. Most doctors aren't going to comment on that because essential oils are not regulated by the FDA. So there's no black and white documentation for them to refer to. So they're not going to comment, but you can look it up on the internet. And I did put some websites on that page here that you can look things up. So for instance, if you're on a blood thinner, you can't use clove bud, or it can't be part of a combination that you're doing because clove bud is for pain, but it also can have blood thinning properties. Also, if you're allergic to aspirin or you're on blood thinners, you can't use wintergreen. Wintergreen essential oil is a natural form of aspirin. So again, it's good for a painkiller. But if you're allergic to aspirin or you can't take aspirin because your doctor said you shouldn't use wintergreen. Well, those are just some examples. Lastly, in your bags, we gave you a little thing of lavender. So I just want to talk about lavender and just some of the properties that lavender is good for. I don't know about you all, but I love lavender. Most people do, but it has calming effects. It has sedative effects. So if you're having trouble with insomnia, you can put it in a diffuser and run it at night. It's good for burns. It's very interesting. I read an article. It happened years and years and years ago where a man was working in his lab. He was working with essential oils with lavender. And I don't know, he burned his arm and just got a panic, I guess. I don't know. He stuck his arm in a vat of lavender. Will it really help? So moving forward a little bit, last year, I burnt the back of my hand on the oven. Went into my cupboard, put the lavender on there, rubbed it in. It took the pain away right away, and I didn't have that redness. The burn was still there, but I didn't have the pain or redness, and it does help with some healing. And what was interesting is I forgot it was there, and a couple of days later, I was out gardening, and when I took my garden gloves off, I ripped that scab off or that skin off where the burn was, and I'm like, oh, I forgot it was there because the lavender did help. So that's interesting that it helps. It's good for burns. It's good for pain. It's good to rub on insect bites if you get bitten by a mosquito or stung by a bee. It helps with dementia in that it helps with the calming effect, the sundowners. It does help with cognition and memory when it's being used. There are a couple combos where if you have a diffuser, if you're caring for someone who has dementia, if you use lavender and rosemary in the morning or in the early part of the day, it helps with cognition and orientation to what's going on. If you use sweet orange and lavender at night, it helps with the sundowners and the agitation. The sweet orange doesn't make sense to me because orange is like a stimulant, but it works because we've done it for a lot of our dementia patients and it really does help. If you have somebody who has dementia and they're a wanderer, and they're like, well, how am I going to use a diffuser? They're not going to stay in one room. What we do is we just buy those little cotton pads, those flat little cotton pads at the store. And you just put a few drops of each on that, and you can put it on the inside of their shirt or under their collar. That way it's near their nose, so they're inhaling it and they're getting the benefit from it without actually staying in one room. For mosquito repellent, my magic potion that I love, because I hate to use off because it's a poison, is lavender, peppermint, and geranium. It works like a dream. What was that for? For mosquitoes, to keep mosquitoes away instead of using off. Yeah. You can do a combination. What I do is I just get like a spray bottle. If you're gonna like keep it from year to year, get a glass bottle. But if you're just gonna do one season at a time and you want to go to the Dollar Tree and get a plastic bottle, get a plastic bottle. Fill it up like 2/3 with witch hazel, and then the rest of the way with like distilled water. And then in it, you'll put like 20 drops of lavender, 20 drops of peppermint, and 20 drops of geranium. It not only helps with mosquitoes, but it helps with bees, which came in handy this fall. On the last page, I put some recommended websites if you're interested in learning more. The very first one, pubmed.gov, is a website not only just about essential oils, but it's all kinds of studies done on the effects of different treatments for different illnesses. So literally in the search engine, you can just type in aromatherapy for breast cancer and see what comes up. And these studies are published. They're really long and cumbersome to read, but there is always a summary at the end. So if you just want to get to the cliff notes, you just go to the bottom and look at the summary. But there's a lot of interesting things out there that work. The second website is roberttisserand.com. He is like one of the leading experts in essential oils. He's been practicing since 1969, and his institute is in London. When you go on his website, there's lots of information. You can do some free classes, and then if you really like it, you can sign up for a paid class online, which is really nice. I've done a couple of his free ones, and it was great. It presented very well. The last one is naha.org. That's the National Association for Holistic Aromatherapy. And again, just a great resource. Lots of information on there. I think you can sign up for a newsletter with them. I'm not sure, but if you're just interested in more information. And that is everything. So does anyone have any questions?
I understand some oils are better companies than others. Do you have any recommendations?
Just repeat the question.
Oh,
So she said, she understands some oils are better than others. Do you have any recommendations?
for the companies that you buy them from. So first of all, when you're just talking about a specific oil, the way that you can tell that it is pure is if you, let's say you're going to go to your local health food store and you're going to be like, oh, I want to get started. Like the very first one I bought was lavender and peppermint. So I go and I buy and I question the person at the store like a crazy woman, and they're like, well, these, we recommend these. I'm like, okay. Well, what I learned when I was taking my classes is the way you can tell if they're pure is you just take a white piece of paper, you put a drop on there. When it dries, if you don't see any stains, it's pure. If you see a stain, they've cut it with some kind of oil. So it's not 100% essential oil. So that's just first of all for individual oils. As far as companies go, I took my classes through a company called Natural Options. and their website is naturaloptions.us. They have a store in Belleville, Ohio, but they also ship things. The people that own the company, George, every time he gets a shipment in, because he gets them in strong, he sends them out to an independent tester to make sure that he is getting what he thinks he's getting. And he gets his oils from all over the world. So he does that little safety net for himself. The other companies, there's two. I know the one is Young Living. I don't know what the other one's called. Sure. Okay. So when I was first getting into it, I didn't know anything about anything. And I talked to somebody from Dotura, and you have to buy a subscription or a membership, which is like $1 million. And you get these oils that you may never use. You may only want two of them, but you have to get the whole thing. And it just really overwhelmed me. So I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So I never even got into those companies at all. When I was first dabbling, I just went to Claudia's and Toledo, or what's the name of the other one? Anyways, it's a health food store. No, it was, but they kind of. You can buy essential oils at Walmart. So it just depends on what you want to use them for. If you want to make a bug spray, the bugs don't care if your oils are good or not, because they just don't like the smell. But if you're going to use it for therapeutic purposes, you really want to make sure. So with Natural Options, I personally can vouch for them. That's where we get our supplies for Ohio Living. And you can buy, let's say you want to try, you heard something good about frankincense. Well, frankincense is super expensive, but with Natural Options, you can buy a dram, which is like this big by this big, this cute little bottle, all the way up to an ounce. And then each category is a different price. So you don't have to buy a 15 milliliter bottle of something. They give you choices. Does that help? Okay. All right. Any other questions?
On the rose smell, you don't see it as often. So when I was young, I had the favorite was called Mr. Lincoln, and it was like velvety red and it smelled wonderful. I haven't smelled any that good stuff. And it seems like the roses are not as hardy as they used to be.
Yeah.
But most of them don't smell good.
Right.
They say in Texas, roses smell fantastic. Up here, roses don't a lot of them.
So there was a comment in the room about you just don't get that beautiful aroma from the roses like you used to years ago. And as far as rose oil, I talked about that earlier, that it is quite expensive. But I will tell you, it's a wonderful scent or a wonderful essential oil to use if you're making a blend for insomnia. There's something about it. And like I made my own little pillow spray, I just use water and then oil. But if you use water in a spray bottle, and just like the witch hazel I was talking about, the oils are always going to rise to the top. So before each time you use, you need to shake it and then spray and help it first. But I added rose oil to my little blend I made for a pillow spray, and not only did it smell really good, but it worked really well. And you don't need a lot. I mean, literally, if I walked in this room and someone before me had put a couple of drops of rose on a paper right there, like it won't take long before you can smell it through the whole room. So you barely use things. Oh, I didn't tell you, because I don't know if I left the page or not. Did I tell you about the 3 oils that are safe to put directly on your skin? I don't think I did, because all the ones have to be carryover. The 3 that are safe to put directly on your skin are lavender, tea tree. Tea tree stinks, but it's really good. It's a good cure-all. Oh, and if you have mold in your house, if you mix up a little blend with tea tree and clean it, it kills the mold too. And then the last one is called Fragonia, Fragonia. Fregonia, you can put directly on your throat if you have a sore throat or anything, and it's very helpful. So those are the only three that are safe to put directly on your skin. If you want to put other ones on your skin, have at it, but I wouldn't. Because they'll burn, you'll know it.
Well, don't some people talk about drinking them too?
Yes, and they
Yeah.
shouldn't,
Yeah.
because essential oils, I'll give you an example. When I was first getting into it, I think the third one I bought was grapefruit. Love the smell. And I heard like if you sniff fruit before you eat dinner, you eat less. So I'm like, okay, I need this. But anyways, I love the smell. And I thought, you know what, this is a nice uplifting scent. I want this in my car when I'm working in between, when I'm in and out of my car. So I grabbed a plastic cup from our, little stash at home, put it in my cup holder, put a couple drops of grapefruit oil in it, and went on about my way. Well, when I looked at the cup later, I melted it. The oil melted the cup. So, do you really want to put that down your throat? No. There are stories, you probably find them on the internet with everything else, of people that did ingest oils and then they got all burned and then they were all mad and they're like trying to sue the company or, wherever they got them from. And we're like, well, why did you do that? But if you go, what's interesting in Robert Cicerone that I said, he's like the leading authority. If you go on his website and look around, he does talk about ingesting essential oils in a capsule. Personally, it wouldn't be for me because the way essential oils do your body good is by getting into your bloodstream. The number one way, the quickest way, and the best way to get that through your system is literally by inhaling it, because it's going to go into your bloodstream and through your body. If you ingest it, you got to wait for things to break down and disperse, and so that's what I thought. That's a good question.
And it's also good to make your little concoction of the lotion. Yeah. You want the caregiver or to your loved one. And why not start the morning with, getting them all ready and do so. And start your day great with lavender or anything that you need.
Yeah.
For diabetes.
Yeah, if somebody is agitated or has dementia, literally what our nurses will do, or our aides or volunteers, they'll just do a little hand massage with lavender. Or if the person's laying in bed, maybe they're agitated or can't sleep, they don't want a diffuser because it freaks them out having that in the corner, they don't want anything penciling, you can literally put a couple drops of lavender on the pillow. I do that to my own pillow sometimes at night. So there's a lot of ways to be creative to use these healing benefits. And on Natural Options, if you go into their little store, you can see they have blends that are tried and tested and all that good stuff for lots of different things.
There's really some good books out there too, to tell you.
There are, yes, yes, and I should have brought some. I have some at home that you can literally look in the back and say, oh, I need something for whatever. So you look, okay, that's on page 39, and it gives you a little recipe. So you don't have to know this, you can look at a book and you can do it.
And you can go to the library too.
I went to the library. I didn't, at the time I went, I didn't really find up-to-date things. Bookstores, I think, are a way to go. Also, with Natural Options, when I said they have creams that are already blended, if you have trouble with restless legs, my husband uses it religiously. They have a Parkinson's cream that helps with 80% of the symptoms of Parkinson's, all the way from tremors to hallucinations, all of that. So just kind of take a look. I'll give you guys my business card. If you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to call me. My phone is always on. If I don't answer the voicemail, I'll call you back. But I don't know. It can be overwhelming, but it can also be kind of fun.
I don't know if she still does it or anything, but Jack's Drug, when it was at the hospital,
Mhm.
the lady there used to have Young Living and a few other oils and
Okay.
really great books and brochures, and she was wonderful.
Aw,
But since they moved, I don't know.
okay,
She does it anymore.
yeah. So if there's a local health food store in Bowling
We
Green,
don't have a health store, do we?
you don't?
Yeah, you have, well, you have, isn't
So-
doTERRA kind of like, not doTERRA, Ashura, what's it called?
Oh, Asher's Garden.
Yeah, they might have oil.
They do oil. yeah.
Where?
Asher's Garden off of Church.
So that's a good resource just to go in and talk with someone.
Almost every massage therapist. sells it.
I'm sorry,
Oh, almost every massage therapist sells it, and chiropractic.
do they?
And also like at TJ Maxx, they have a little, they always have oil, so like she said, go and do the little test, and take a little sheet with you, and I'm doing that test now.
It really just depends on what you're using it for.
Exactly.
Like my, my peppermint, because peppermint is great for repelling ants. So literally I clean my counters with a mixture of white vinegar, water, and some peppermint in the spray bottle. That's how I clean my counters, and it keeps the ants away.
Yeah.
And you can even, like, if you know where they're coming in your house, like if they're coming in under a door, you just put a little drop on the floor, corner of the door, and it keeps them from coming in. They don't want to come in. Going on that though, if you have pet respiratory systems are super sensitive. So if you are using a diffuser and you have a pet, test it. And if they seem to be bothered by it in any way, I wouldn't use it because. Anything else? I could literally talk about this all day, but, I will give you this so you can scan and, I'll give you my card.
I just have one question. Yeah, I'm just curious. You come to the house of our living and stuff, and then you bring and help the patients at home with
Yeah,
that.
Thank you for asking. Yes, Ohio Living Home Health Palliative Medicine and Hospice is a faith-based, not-for-profit home health and hospice agency. In 2022, we just celebrated our 100th year in business as a company, which is huge. We're based in Columbus. We have sites throughout the state of Ohio, but we in the Toledo office service Northwest Ohio. And we do home health care. If somebody needs, if they're homebound and they need therapy or skilled nursing at home with a doctor's order, we can do home care. Medicare Part A covers home health services at 100%. Other insurances, Medicare replacement policies, they do tend to follow suit, but we always double check benefits before we begin any care. So we don't have any surprises for anyone. Palliative medicine is for symptom control when you're treating a chronic illness. That is covered like a doctor's office is, and yes, we go to your home. And then lastly, hospice, we care for the patients wherever they call home. And with hospice, a lot of people think that it's for the very end, and it really isn't. I mean, you could have a terminal illness and qualify for hospice way sooner than you think. So you get the benefit of all that symptom control, building a rapport with your team, the comfort and everything. And most insurance cover that 100% as well. So thank you for asking. I think, Linda, did you put brochures and everyone there?
I got some of those little, sheets, but if you guys want to have more information, just let me know, and I'll go find it.
I might have a couple of brochures in my, no, it's in the car. Oh, I might have a couple brochures with me. I can give you.
Yeah.
Um, but Linda and I visit the Wood County Hospital campus. And then Linda goes to doctor's offices and skilled nursing facilities in the area. So chances are, if your doctor's in this area, they know Linda and they know about us. You always have a choice of who you can use. So if you want to use Ohio Living, if home care or hospice are recommended to you, all you have to do is say so and we'll help you.
Then we do provide the oils and also massage therapy to go along with. So-
For hospitals.
For hospitals.
Yep, that's part of our service. All right,
All right, we're gonna take a little commercial break and then we'll join back up in a few moments.
thank you.
Our second part of our session today for self-care for caregivers is entitled Stress Relief Tips and Tools. Please welcome Teresa Bartchlett. Yes, and she is from Rei-Light Healing and Hypnosis. Thank you,
Thank you.
Teresa.
Thank you, everybody. Kudos to you for coming for self-care. It's so important. It really is. And having been in your situation, and I will be in your situation again, my husband was diagnosed with early stage dementia. You know, taking care of yourself is huge. You know, even if it's just little things that you can do daily or weekly or whatever. So a little bit about me and what I do. I've been a hypnotist for 25 years. I also do Reiki and a couple other modalities that help you relieve stress. And I help people make lifestyle changes and just learn how to deal with stress better and release it. And the second part of my presentation, I'd like to do just a guided meditation where you can let go. We'll go to the beach. And you can just let go of whatever you want to let go of today or not. I mean, it's your choice, but but I also have a little thing here. You can just a little handout you can put on your fridge because I like to share just a few tools that have helped me, you know, manage stress, you know, and just deal with all the craziness out there right now. So I'm going to pass these out real quick. And like I said, you can put it on your fridge, you can keep it, kiss it, whatever you want, but the tools that I'm gonna share are, from Access Consciousness. And it's a company that, has all kinds of system tools to help you change your life and reduce your stress and achieve the goals that you want to achieve. So, and you can just but I just want to do a quick rundown on them because I can go on forever about some of this stuff and how much it's changed my life and, you know, the things that I do. But the first tool I would like to mention is the mantra from Access, and that is all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. And just getting in the practice of saying that mentally, you don't even have to say it out loud daily, you know, 10 times in the morning, 10 times at night. You do begin to see eventually that you do have more ease dealing with this daily routine, your daily routine and things that you used to struggle with, you know, all the things that you have to do in a day, never ending, you know, it can really begin to change things for you. And that's a really simple, easy thing you can do. And as a matter of fact, that one I put on my business card for every client that comes because yeah, it's just something that can shift the energy of your situation and everything is energy. So, and another tool, one of my favorites is live as the question, asking questions, you know, to God, the universe, whatever your beliefs are. When you ask a question, you open the door to possibility. So, and my favorite one, how does it get any better than this? A lot of times when things are going wrong and you're having a stressful day, you know, you have a tendency to ask, can it get any worse? Well, be careful what you ask for, you know. Instead, if you ask, how does it get better than this? You know, what else is possible? That's the next one. You know, how can I change this? What are some things that, you know, I've never occurred to me before that maybe now, you know, could. But asking a question always opens a door. You know, and we get taught it too when we start asking questions. Yeah, I'm asking so many questions. But questions will always change the situation. Now, do you get an idea right away? No, and maybe not even that day. But I know for me, when I ask a question, how does it get better than this? And then I just get busy doing something. I may get a really good idea, or the phone may ring, or I may think of a friend that I haven't spoke to in a long time and, you know, reaching out to them. So that's a question. Questions are great. Who does this belong to? We are so connected to one another and to the people in our households, the people we work with. Have you ever noticed, if you went somewhere and somebody was in a really foul mood, how it just kind of changed the energy of the whole room? Well, sometimes just acknowledging that it's not yours, you're just aware that somebody in that room or in that situation is having a bad day. You know, sometimes just acknowledging that, who does this belong to? Is this even mine or my, it can help ease it, knowing that it's not yours. And the conflict with that can be, well, why would I feel it if it wasn't mine? Well, everything's energy, thoughts, feelings, emotions, and some people are more empathic than others. Some people are more connected to, and yeah, you're gonna feel, and if you're really sensitive like me, you even cry at movies. Because, you're aware of that energy. So, acknowledging, is this even mine? What is this? Can I change it? And then another good tool too, and this more than once, I should have paid more attention to, truth or lie, heavy and light, making choices based on how it feels to you is huge because we're so cute, we will try and make a heavy situation light. And what I mean by heavy is, let's say somebody asks you to go see some concert, and you're like, no, you're thinking that. And then you're like, well, I really want to go because blah, blah, blah. And then you get there and it's horrible. And it's everything that if you could use your own fruition, you would have just said, no, I'm busy or, whatever. So a heavy light tool, can help you make better choices when it comes to just being around situations that maybe it's going to be heavy and you're not going to change it. Why not just say no? If it's light and it feels fun, I'm going to go for it, But I have one to share with that. I went to Mexico. We go to Mexico every year, and 2021, I went and I got COVID and I got stuck there for 20 days because they just passed a law where you had to have a negative test. But prior to that whole trip, it felt heavy, but who's going to cancel if you already paid for 10 days on, had I known what I know, and to listen to that voice and never doubt it, I probably would have just rescheduled or canceled. But I got stuck there 20 days and I came home and went right into the hospital. And if it hadn't been for prayer and some really good friends, I don't know how I survived it because I was a really sick girl. But had I listened to that, what would have changed? I mean, if I'd have been home, I could have got the care I needed. I may not have ended up in the hospital. I could have drank hot tea and took care of myself, but instead I ended up in a hotel room, isolated, for 10 days or better. So just asking questions and, be honest. It feels heavy for me to choose that. I don't think I'm gonna pass. Your point of view creates your reality is the next one. And this tool is designed to get you out of polarity, which God love us, our country is so polarized right now, sometimes it's impossible to escape it. But one thing I learned, and this has kind of helped me with politics and just people in general who have really strong opinions about certain things, is interesting point of view, they have that point of view. When you stay neutral in a situation like that, you're not polarizing it. When somebody says blah, 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 and you're like, oh, that's not true, you just helped create that reality because you disagreed. It's the same energy. So if you approach it more like holidays are coming up and we all have those relatives, we just can't seem to let some things go. Interesting point of view, he has that point of view, and just stay. Then you're not aligning, agreeing, or resisting or reacting and creating that energy that stops, because you're not attached to his point of view or their point of view or anybody else's point of view. Does that make sense? Allowance is key, or you could call it acceptance, whatever works for you, but allowing other people to have and not take a point of view, it's for you. I would rather be free than right, I guess. So that's my last tool. So if any of these sound, resonate with you, or they sound like something that might help, just take one day and use it, How does it get better than that? All of life comes to me with these joy and glory. And like I said, those are tools from Access Consciousness. I work for them also. And I do it's like reflexology on your head. And it's designed to get rid of the monkey mind that we all have. We've got a lot going on and we can't seem to clear it. And it's really an amazing tool along with these. So if you want to try it, especially with the holidays coming, hang it on the fridge and just maybe find one that might work for the situation that you're in. Okay? Sound good? Any questions about these tools?
You might have said, but I was in the other room.
Oh,
Where are you located?
I'm in Finley and my office is in my home. And I see people, one-on-one and in groups, and just helping them make lifestyle changes and give up bad habits and whatever's required. And I've got an arsenal of tools. I've been doing this for 25 years. So, and I love taking classes. So I'm always trying to learn new things. Even the aromatherapy, I do it. I use it every day. I've been using oils for years. And I even learned something today from that. So it's great, to have these little things you get together
I think we
and, learning more about how you can help yourself, and what you can do for you.
Is your thing like cranial sacral?
It's energy work, but it's not focused on the body. Your body, you will release stuff from your body when you have your bars home and that. But I don't really, other modalities I do, I think it's on the body. My good friend of mine does cranial sacral though, which is really good. So I encourage everybody, try new things. There's so many new things you can do for self-care. Even, I like going up to that float tank up there in Perrysburg, that True Rest, and floating. It's amazing. It is amazing.
My daughter, Marcy.
It really is. It melts away stress like nothing.
Warm water or what?
It's like room temp. It's like room temperature.
And it's in the dark. isn't it?
Yeah, when you go in, you take a shower and you get in the pot and close it, and you can have lights on and music or not. But you're laying in pretty much Epsom salt. It's really got a lot of Epsom salt, so you float. But it's amazing. I love it. I wish we had one in Finland.
Do they have, warnings for when you do have high blood pressure?
I don't know about all that. They do questionnaires and health checks before you even go
Yeah, I
in.
think that would interfere with how high blood pressure with blood.
I have no idea. It's not hot. I mean, you're laying in
No,
room
but
temp.
that's the Epsom salt.
I have no idea. I'm not a doctor or a licensed anything. So any questions? No, I do not do massage. I do energy work, period.
And you said, reflexology of the head, but do you do hands and feet?
I do not. I do energy work. I don't massage. I'm not licensed in massage. I do Reiki too, which is energy work, but I don't even have to touch you for that. I can stay, off your body for that. So yeah, no, I don't do massage. I thought about it though. At one time I was gonna, but I made another choice, so. Okay, so do you want to get started on the guided meditation? You want to finish eating first and then it'll only take about 20 minutes.
Let's go ahead and get started.
Do you want to get started? And has anybody ever done a meditation or anything like that?
Yeah.
So basically, there's only a couple of things that are required, sorry. Relaxation. If you can relax as well as you can, and eye closure, just keeping your eyes closed through the whole thing. And you're going to create the whole experience in your mind. I'm just going to talk to you. So use the part of your brain that we want to affect is your imagination. Make it as real as you can. We're gonna go to the beach. You're gonna have your toes in the sand and feeling the warm sand, and then we're gonna sit down on the beach and do some visualization. And I'm gonna allow you to clear anything that you want to today. If you don't want to clear anything, that's great too. Do whatever feels right. You can't do it wrong. So, you ready to give it a shot? Excellent. And if you like this meditation, I'm gonna send a link and you have access to it. So you can use it daily. And all you have to do is bring it up on your phone. You'll give yourself 20 minutes to just sit back and close your eyes if you could get 20 minutes. You know, and make it a part of your daily self-care, and experiencing alpha state daily can do so much for your body and your well-being. It really can. It makes a huge difference. Okay, I'm gonna move this. I don't want it to be too loud, but does everybody like the beach or?
You get this, yours through the senior center.
Yes, I will email it.
She'll email you a link and you can access it, and if you want to use it daily or once a week or whatever, that's your choice. Okay? So the way we're gonna start out, I'm just gonna walk you through relaxing your body. And then we're gonna go down some stairs or an elevator, maybe an elevator, because I don't want anybody to struggle, all right? And then we're gonna go to the beach and sit down, and when we get to the beach, we sit down, I'm gonna have you imagine that you have a balloon on top of your head. And it fits like a hat, and it's deflated, and it may sound crazy, but the part of your mind understands these things, it'll get it. But I'm gonna have you go with it and just release. It can be worry, stress, fear, people. I put people on my balloon. And then when we're done, we're gonna tie it off and we're gonna let it go. And it's gonna float over the beach and out of the way, and taking with it all the things that you're ready to let go of. And then we're gonna fill your body with light and energy. And we'll come back up the stairs and you'll be ready for the rest of your day. Sound good? Okay, cool. Let's get started. You bring some music on here, and I hope nobody calls. I haven't figured out how to silence calls and still use my Bluetooth. I'm a rookie at this, so trying to be more tech savvy, but doesn't always work. Maybe a more central place. And I'm just gonna dim the lights if that's okay. Is there a dimmer on that? Is that too much light back there? You okay? Okay, great. You hear that music? So let's just start by taking a nice long, slow, deep breath. Close your eyes. And just begin to relax and let go. And any outside noises that just diminish in the background now. And you relax and let go. Focusing on the sound of my voice. Taking you deeper and deeper. And if you would, bring your attention to your feet. Your toes, your arches, and your heels. And just notice any sensations that you might be feeling in your feet. And maybe you don't feel anything, and that's okay too. But just release, relax, let any tension or discomfort fall away from your feet. Placing your feet in a deep, deep state of relaxation. Now moving your attention from your feet up to your ankles, your calves, your toes, your knees. hips. And again, taking note of any sensation, any tightness, any tension. And just allow yourself to release and relax and let it go. Placing from your hips now all the way down to your toes in a deep, deep state of relaxation. Shifting on my voice now. Bring your attention up to your lower back and your lower back. In your upper back and chest. And again, just checking in with this area where you're holding any tension. If you let some go. Feel it, feel, and then release, relax, and just let it follow back. Placing these areas in a deep state of relaxation. And the deeper you go, the better you feel. And the better you feel, the deeper you go. Now moving up to your shoulders, down your arms, to your elbows, to your fingertips. Noticing the tension in your shoulder. Release and relax and pull your shoulders away from your knees and let go of all that tension. It's like somebody laid a warm blanket of relaxation on your shoulders. As you go deeper and deeper. Moving your attention now to your neck and your throat. Up to your jaw. Up your face, your mouth, your nose, your eyes, your eyelids. All the way up to the top of your head. Scanning these areas to taking note when you can let go. Moving out your forehead. Relaxing your jaw. Allowing your head to be in a deep state of relaxation. So now from head to toe, anything that hasn't relaxed. It's okay now to just let go. Let it go. Just again. And if you would, focus on your eyelids now. And I'd like you to just pretend or to imagine that your eyelids are so heavy, so incredibly relaxed, that even if you try, they just won't work. You're so heavy, so deeply, deeply relaxed. And just in your mind. And if you can't see it, you can get a sense or a feeling that you're standing on a staircase. Let's make it an escalator. You're standing on the escalator, and as you go down with every single number that I named, you go deeper and feel more comfortable. 10, going deeper and deeper. 9, going deeper down the escalator. 8, feeling more comfortable and more relaxed, barriers down. 7, 6, becoming more comfortable. My voice will always follow you. 5, deeper and deeper. 4, 3, 2, One. And you step off the escalator now, and in front of you, there's a door. When I count to three, I'd like you to open the door. One, two, three. Open the door and go through it and feel the door close behind you. The following scene begins to unfold in your mind. It's a beautiful day. You're at the beach. Not a care in the world. The warmest sand is under your feet, connecting you and grounding you to the earth. It's your perfect kind of day. The sun is a beautiful color of blue or orange. Sorry. The sky is a beautiful shade of blue. And the waves are gently rolling and beginning to sync with your breath. There's nobody else on this beach. This is your private sanctuary that you are creating just for you. Now, if you would, find a place to sit down on the beach. Maybe a nice comfy recliner. And as you sit down, you go even deeper. And sit down and just enjoy the beautiful scenery, the colors of the water, the green, the fields. And in the distance, you can hear seagulls. Breathing in the salt air, relaxing and easy. Now imagine, as I spoke about sooner, there's a balloon on top of your head, your favorite color, and it fits just like a comfortable old hat. And the balloon is deflated. And we're going to inflate that balloon with anything that you're ready to let go of today. And it can be fear, shame, worry, guilt, stress. You know what the things are that you're ready to let go of. So when I ask you to begin, I'd like you to just go within and use your imagination on how to throw these things out the top of your head into the balloon. So ready? Begin. Tossing it out the top of your head, any worries, any fears, any self-judgment, letting it go, filling the balloon as it begins to inflate. It gets larger and larger. Maybe letting go of the things you can't control. Or stress or worry. Letting it all go. Cleaning house, so to speak. What can you let go of? How can you lighten up? What would it take? And now finish up, and don't worry if you didn't get it all today. You'll have plenty of opportunity to do this as often as you like. So tie off the balloon. And when you're ready, let it go. floats over the beach, over the city and the state, over the country, or out into the atmosphere, where it's turned into positive universal energy. And take a moment to just notice how different your body feels. Or maybe you feel. And because we don't live in a void, we're going to fill your body with nurturing, healing, loving energy straight from God. So imagine a blue light above your head where the blue used to be. This light is healing, it's loving, it's nurturing. And long after we finish today, it will continue to comfort you. It comes in through your head now. It goes down your spine, down into your throat, into your chest. And your heart begins to pump this beautiful, beautiful energy into all of your organs, into your shoulders, down your arms, down to all your abdomen, down into your hips, down to your legs, all the way down and out the bottom of your feet, with a constant stream of loving, healing energy. And while you are cocooned in this God love energy, just take a moment on the beach to visualize once more, and don't worry, you can come back here as many times as you want. It's not goodbye, it's see you later. It's beautiful way. Sunlight on your skin, warming you. And how does it get better? So now let's get out of our chairs on the beach and head back to the escalator. Taking a last look around and the beautiful beach that you created. As we get on the escalator, when we get to the top, you'll be wide awake, alert, refreshed, feeling better than you have in ages. 1, coming up slowly, hand on the rail. 2, 3, 4, feeling better than you have. 5, 6, 7, 8, bring your awareness back to the room now, and 9, and 10, open your eyes, you're wide awake, alert, refreshed, feeling better than you have in ages. I hope that helps. I hope you enjoyed it. That's all I got, unless you got any questions.
Did you have a card?
I do. You know, and the one that I'm gonna send you is probably longer, I get one.